Welcome to this open session and an opportunity to find out a little bit about studying for one of the two master's programs. Professor Davo Jalto will speak about the course Religion, Politics and Democracy. And Professor Cyril Hoverun will talk about the course International Relations and Ecumenism. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, both courses are 2 years long, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
For the full masters, but there is also an opportunity to do a 1-year course, I think.
Correct. That's correct.
So there's really two options, and both courses are taught mainly online as well, is that right?
That's correct.
By distance, yeah.
And also it should be said probably that the 2 years master's courses are designed for the students who want to pursue further research, like that if they want to continue in the PhD program, which we also offer. Otherwise, students can save them time and effort probably by applying for the 1-year course, which is also available for them if they want to somewhere kind of stop in developing their career, academic career, somewhere there in the master's field. So that is the difference, the basic difference in terms of the purpose, teleology, so to say, that tell us the end of this of both programs.
So the 2-year course is better designed to prepare students to do research, to do a doctorate, basically.
Exactly, and they have more time for reading, for their research. It's more kind of more relaxed even, if you want. And also, yes, professionally they will be prepared better. But we also understand the sensitivities of those students who want to save their time, and they will have an opportunity to also have a 1-year course.
Okay, good. Thank you for that clarification. So let's hand over to Davor to present your course. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh, for the introduction, and thank you all who are present here at this virtual meeting within our open day. The program, I'll talk just very briefly about the program Religion, Politics and Democracy, and then present its structure and individual courses, and then also switch to the Magister program or 1-year master's program, and explain the differences between these two. Hopefully all of this not longer than 10 minutes. So the program Religion, Politics and Democracy really looks into the connections between political and religious ideas. And of course, we are well aware of the complexity of the issues and how relevant these topics are for the world in which we live, and not just nowadays or these weeks and months, but also generally. We actually can say that most of those political ideas and political systems that evolved in the West over the past couple of centuries actually were under the predominant influence of religious ideas and religious institutions, even when some of them were developed in order to react against these institutions and these ideas. We want with this program to help students to conceptualize this area, be able to critically assess many of the arguments that are created about the political sphere, about the democratic system, and how religion and religious institutions influence this realm, and how they are influenced by what happens within the socio-political sphere. As it was mentioned before, this 2-year program is primarily designed for students who want to pursue academic careers and want to look into these issues from a more scholarly perspective and analyze these issues in depth. it can also be useful, of course, for professionals, depending on individual career prospects and goals. But of course, professionals can also opt for a 1-year master's program, which follows the same general structure and the idea as the 2-year master's program, just in a stylized form. So instead of 120 credits, the magister program or 1-year master's program is 60 credits. How this program is designed, the 2-year master's program, 120 credits. So it's split into 2 years. Each year has 2 semesters, and each semester is divided into modules. So 2 modules. That's the terminology we use here. So the program is the whole thing that you will study for 2 or 1 year, depending on which of these programs you choose. And each program has its semesters, and modules refer to basically 2 parts within each semester, nothing more than that. So within the first year, in the first semester, fall semester, students will have theory and method in the study of religion, politics, and democracy, Orthodox Christianity, past and present, and then in Module 2, political theologies in Orthodox Christianity, and the first part of the course, religion and politics. So the structure is such that it enables students who also don't necessarily have a background in Eastern Christian studies or theology, more specifically, to actually quickly gain sufficient knowledge, basics in Orthodox Christianity, and also theories and methods that we use in this particular area, in order to progress and to be able to follow the courses that are coming up later. So already in the second semester, there are political theologies in Orthodox Christianity, where we basically look at how political reflections within the Orthodox environment evolved, and how they reflected what was happening in history in the political arena, how these ideas, theological ideas and religious ideas interacted. In religion and politics, first part, we are looking at how political ideas and institutions and religious ideas and institutions developed in the Western history of the West, starting with ancient Roman times and then taking it up to the Renaissance times, that is, to the Protestant Reformation. In the second semester, we are continuing with essentially the same course in the sense of its general structure, but now looking at the second part of that history from the Protestant Reformation all the way up until contemporary times. In addition to this course, in the second semester, students will have a course named Post-Secularization in Modern Political Philosophy, which is dedicated to one of the major themes in the history of political thought over the course of modernity, and that is the issue of secularization or post-secularization, as many authors have pointed out, that we live actually now in post-secular times, not in those classical modernist paradigms that took secularization as one of the vital ingredient of Western modernity. We also have the course Democracy and Liberalism, Contemporary Challenges, and just as secularization is one of the chief themes within the history of Western political philosophy, liberalism is the main, one of the main, but one can argue also the main ideology and also political philosophy that evolved over the course of Western modernity, that in many ways decisively shaped societies in which we live, and also was itself shaped by specific religious ideas. In the fourth module, so the end of the spring semester in the first year, students will also have a chance to choose an elective course. So depending on their individual career prospects, what is that they see they would be particularly interested in, and they want to learn more about that, they can use those elective courses to actually somehow design their own curriculum, or at least expand the curriculum that's already designed and take it into the direction they want to pursue. In year 2, in the fall semester, students will have global orthodoxy after 1989. So the course that's dedicated specifically now to the situation in the Orthodox world after the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the subsequent dissolution of the Soviet Union, and also the course Religion, Art, and Propaganda, where we are looking more closely at how political ideas or ideologies are translated into propaganda, primarily visual propaganda, but also other types of propaganda, such as media or popular culture, and how this also is related to religion, religious institutions, and the political sphere. Also in the fall semester, students will have a chance to choose another elective course and they will start working on their thesis. So within the course, thesis preparation. The spring semester is there for students to work on their master's thesis. So the entire semester is just for the master's thesis, and based on the thesis preparation course, students are expected to develop their general framework for their thesis and then do the research and produce a master's thesis. So this is the general design and individual courses and briefly course content for each one of them. And the difference between this and one-year master's program, or magister program as it's called in Sweden, is that students who opt for the one-year program will have some of these courses that I just explained about, but not all of them. So they'll basically have courses, theories and methods in the study of religion, politics, and democracy, Orthodox Christianity, past and present, political theologies in Orthodox Christianity, and religion and politics from Pax Romana to Pax Christiana. So that would be for the fall semester. And in the spring semester in module 3, they will have religion and politics, second part, and post-secularization in modern political philosophy. So this will be the coursework. And in addition to this, they will be supposed to write a thesis, which is 15 credits. So as you can see, it's kind of half of the program that's envisioned for the full 2-year master's program, what's required for the magister or 1-year master's program. Since I think my 10 minutes is kind of over or about to end, I would stop here. And of course, if you have any questions later on, we can discuss some of these issues a little bit more in depth.
Right, probably I need to take over, right? Well, thank you, Davor, for doing a part of my job of explaining this this program, because indeed our programs are very close to each other. They adjacent to each other in both structure and the content and the goal, because we consider both of us, I mean, in our relevant programs, we consider as the main kind of object of our studies the phenomenon of the church and the presence of the church in the political and social and public squares. The program of that Davor is responsible for takes a more political approach to the same kind of subject, to the same phenomenon. My approach and the approach of my program is more from the perspective of theology and ecclesiology, and hence is the title of this program, which includes the reference to the phenomenon of the church. Ecclesiology basically ecclesiology frames somehow the entire master's program in international relations and ecumenism, it is studied as the condition for the entire course. We will discuss, we will explore the phenomenon of the church from different perspectives, historically, theologically, sociologically, politically, eventually. We will make historical excursus to the very kind of first years and centuries of the church, how it evolved. Hence is the title of one of the classes in our program, the evolution of the church. We believe in such evolution, and we are, from this perspective, evolutionists, and not with the idea that for us the church as the institution established by God evolves, but the church as the human response to the revelation, as the human togetherness around Jesus Christ that undergoes different changes and gets influences from the political developments, from the social developments, and so forth. So we study the church in its changeable aspect, so to say, in its political and social, sociological aspects. So yes, that is kind of the main, I think, difference between Davor's and my program. Davor's approach, you can correct me, Davor, if I overestimate or underestimate. What you're trying to do is to take on the phenomenon of the church, phenomenon of religion, more from the political perspective and sociological perspective. We don't ignore the political or sociological aspects either, but we somehow go into a different direction of explaining the political through the theological, and by also exploring how, not just how the political phenomena get influenced by religion, but also how the religious phenomena get influenced by the political developments. We certainly address, yes, I mentioned that we do those historical excursus to the past. We explain, explore, deliberate upon different challenges that the church faced in the past. But we also do and apply the same perspective to the modern developments. For example, we try to tackle the conflicts, the ongoing conflicts that increasingly happen in the world of Eastern Christianity. If you take, for example, the wars that happened in Europe in the beginning of the 21st century, all of them happened in the Eastern Christian milieu, starting with Georgia in 2008, then Ukraine, this ongoing war in Ukraine. Even before that, the Yugoslavian wars in Serbia that affected Serbia and other Yugoslavian countries, they also happened in the frame of Eastern Christianity. So we try to explain and to rationalize if the war is rationalizable. We try to rationalize what is happening, what underpins the conflicts, the wars that have happened in Europe, and the methods, the knowledge that we provide, that we offer, I hope can give additional light, can shed additional light on the political developments, and this is kind of, this is true. This is a reality that the world was taken by surprise by some of those wars, like this war in Ukraine. It seems to has happened like out of blue, and many people in Europe were unprepared for it, because exactly they ignored the religious frame, the religious component of this war. Without this religious frame, essentially, it's difficult to understand the motivation of Russia, the motivations of those leaders who waged this war, who continue supporting it. And I believe in our school, we've got some best experts and scholars who can actually untangle this very complicated conflicts, including the ongoing one. Yes, so in the frame of our courses, of our master programs, we try indeed to address the modern phenomena, the kind of ongoing conflicts and wars. If you want really to understand them adequately, I think I suggest you to, the students, to take these courses, because after those courses, you will certainly understand much better why these wars happened, and actually to figure out, you can figure out in the end how to prevent those wars from happening in the future, especially in the Eastern Christian frame, as I said. So speaking, that's kind of the most teasing part of this program, I would believe, because indeed those who want to understand the ongoing situation, they should take our courses, our with Davos courses. Also, I need to emphasize the methodological part of this course. Davor already addressed it, and I think it is important to keep in mind that we pay a lot of attention to methodology. We explore and we teach our students to apply academic analysis and synthesis to the subjects that we offer for studies. Methodology is included in every class that we offer. It is important to understand the subject. It is also very important to continue your studies, especially if you take this two years class and you want to pursue further your research. Then we supply you essentially with the instruments of research, with the methodology. A few more words about other aspects of our classes that we offer. We also offer courses in ecumenism, in this movement which started 100 years ago. Well, in its active phase, in its present phase, arguably ecumenism existed even before the ecumenical era. But it is widely believed that ecumenism started like 100 years ago. Sweden has played an important role in it and continues to play a very important role in the global ecumenical movement in different ways. And that's why we are really proud to host a special ecumenical course, which explores also the input and the reactions, sometimes negative reactions, to the ecumenical movement from the Orthodox churches. I think that is a kind of unique input of our school, of our courses to the otherwise widely popular courses in ecumenical studies, and many institutions offer such courses, but we offer courses in ecumenism which explore exactly this very peculiar, sometimes unpredictable participation of the Orthodox churches in the global ecumenical movement. Another thing that I would like to emphasize that we offer is we offer courses that explore how a religion plays, what kind of role is played by religion in diplomacy, and how diplomacy affects the churches and religions. We also offer courses in how religion affects the international relations, both in terms of legality, in terms of politics. Well, certainly I brought this example of the wars in Eastern and Southern Europe, the war in Ukraine, and it is a major international issue nowadays. It seems that this war is going to reshape the world that we've known. And certainly religion has played a crucial role in reshaping this world towards or to better that will emerge out of this conflict. So without religion, you cannot really understand this world. And that is another thing that we offer to our students. Also, yes, last but not least is the element and component in our course which we deem to be important and which is in the process of making is the component of interreligious dialogue. So we really pay attention to the relations not between the Christian churches but also between Christianity and other religions, particularly Islam, and we explore really many parallels in the way how Islam treats politics and how politics affects Islam. And we believe that similar patterns can be observed also in the relationship between Islam and Christianity, especially Eastern Christianity, especially given that the Eastern Christianity, well, many parts of Eastern Christianity lived under Islam for centuries and have been affected by Islam, and also have affected Islam reciprocally. So it's another component in our program that we really promote and we love to promote. So that would be my kind of explanation of the rationale of our courses, what we offer, what we suggest. I believe that there are many things. Well, there are many things that are in common with other similar programs in other institutions worldwide, but there are some things that are really unique for our institution, like, for example, these explanations of the religious underpinnings of the ongoing conflicts, all the conflicts of the past, especially in the Eastern Christian milieu, as well as this combination of political science, ecclesiology, interreligious dialogue, ecumenism. So this blend of disciplines makes our program not just interdisciplinary, but also offering a kind of unique expertise that you can't get elsewhere. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you both very much indeed for very concise and very clear introductions to your courses. I'll ask a question to both of you. How are your courses taught? I mean, what I'm meaning is, what is the relation between time with you on screen, reading, sessions together with other students on this? How does it actually work if I do a course with you? Maybe Davor, if you can begin. Do you understand what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Hugh, because that's a very important element that actually wasn't addressed at the beginning. So I want to first of all to say that this program, or both the 2-year master's program in religion, politics, and democracy and 1-year master's program, are online programs. So they are taught online 100%, which of course includes a variety of different activities. The only requirement then is that for the final defense of the thesis that a student is actually, that they are present here in person, like physically for the final defense, but the rest of the coursework is actually done online. And depending on the course, we have different learning activities, so to say. Some of the courses are primarily based on lectures, and lectures that are pre-recorded, or consultations that are live. So when students meet together with a teacher at a certain pre-scheduled time on Zoom, and then are able to interact directly. But in addition to this, we also have courses that are primarily based on weekly discussions that happen online using this platform that we use, Canvas, for all our instruction. And then in addition to that, there are also other types of assignments, such as papers, such as student group work. There are tests, there are final exams, and so on and so forth. So the actual percentage, if you want to put it that way, between the time spent on reading and the time spent online in, say, online discussions or time spent on lectures, it really depends on individual courses. So it's not the same in all of them, simply because some instruction methods are more useful for certain kind of themes, while not necessarily very efficient for other courses. So it really depends on the structure of these courses, and the best way to get a better sense of what each of these courses is about is to actually go online and also find these short descriptions for each one of them. And if students are interested in knowing more about what happens in all of them individually, they can always email to me, and I'll be happy to address these questions.
Thank you. Cyril, carry on.
Thank you. Yes, I would add to that indeed our courses are designed to be flexible, to accommodate the students' schedules. We understand that our students are busy people. Sometimes they have to work. Sometimes they live in different countries. And that's why we really throw a lot of effort to supporting online courses. They don't exclude the offline courses, the courses on the campus. We still have those courses on the campus if we have enough students. But it appears that most of our students are online. They live international. They live abroad, outside Sweden, and we try to be like a really international and really international school. Also, yes, we follow this philosophy of flip philosophy. Essentially, it means that we don't feed our students with knowledge. That's not our purpose. The students are supposed to know how to learn, how to get information they need. We don't work like Wikipedia, essentially, here in the school. Our purpose is different. Our purpose is to teach students to learn, and teach students to learn what to do with the knowledge that they acquire, that they get. And that's why in my courses, for example, I pay most attention to the so-called seminars. Seminars meaning it's like a place, an opportunity for the students to exchange their ideas. We ask our students to prepare presentations on the topics of interest. Like, for example, we had topics relevant to the wars against, to the genocides, to the ongoing situations in the world. They showcase those situations, and they try to make sense out of them, to explain them. We do it interactively, so other students react. They ask questions, they answer questions. So it's really kind of a full engagement, what we also call the engaged learning. When the students are engaged in their learning, they're not just listeners. They are participants in the fullest sense of this word. And we've made the seminars as the most important opportunity for such an exchange and such engagement of the students. Also, yes, we ask students, there is another form which is more flexible for the students, especially with busy schedule. We ask students to read literature, and they have an assignment, a reading assignment each week. And they are supposed to reflect on this literature also in an engaging and interactive way. So they exchange their opinions in the fora. Also, we use this platform mentioned by Davor, the Canvas platform. Yes, we use the reading assignments as another opportunity for engagement, for interaction for the students. So I would say that, yes, our kind of philosophy is the philosophy of interaction and engagement.
Thank you both very much for that clarification. I have another question for you both. Both of you have said that part of your the 2-year course involves some kind of thesis. Is that right? Yes. And that implies research. What support is given in terms of finding a research project, and how practical are those projects or themes compared to a more, I mean, a thesis can be reading books in a library, or it can be going to a place and engaging in some kind of active action. So I'm just wondering about the thesis side of things, how students are directed or supported or prepared for that. Cyril, can you maybe speak to that first?
Yes, well, I should say that actually the thesis is supposed to be written in both programs, the 2-year program and the 1-year program. Of course, for the 2-year program, the thesis is supposed to be longer and more profoundly researched. Given that following this 2-year program is a precondition for any further academic activity in the PhD programs in any system. So after our master's program, student can go to any institution, including ours. We also offer PhD programs to our students, but they can go elsewhere and they can pursue their doctoral studies after our 2-year master's program, wherever they want. And to be prepared for that, for those programs, they certainly need to start learning how to do research already in the master's program. Yes, we have, because we really treat students individually. And we have this approach of, you know, kind of tutorials, what they have in Oxbridge, in Oxford and Cambridge, when they sit with a student face to face, they talk, they discuss with the students what direction they should take. And then we discuss what are the methods to apply for their research. We suggest also certainly the literature list for the students to read about, to start with reading about, and then to continue with their own study. At the same time, while helping students on this individual level, in this individual forum, face-to-face forum, I would say we try not to patronize students, and we kind of believe that our students are capable of doing their own research on their own somehow. So our purpose is exactly to help students, but not to patronize them in their research. Yes, we pay a good deal of attention and time, spend a lot of time by talking to students, helping them as much as they need this help, without being, you know, much imposing ourselves upon their research process. That would be my kind of response to this question.
Endeavor?
Yeah, thanks, and thanks, Cyril, for those clarifications. I would just add that within the program Religion, Politics, and Democracy, we allow students to do different kinds of final master's projects. So it can be a classical thesis, so a piece of written work based on semi-independent or independent research, but it can also be something else. So it really depends on the kind of topic that the student is interested in, and the general orientation where the student sees him or herself later on in the future, what kind of career prospects do they envision for themselves, and therefore they can get into that kind of material that they think would help them with their career goals. So that means that in addition to a written piece, depending on concrete areas they want to explore, the thesis or the final project can include also a practical part attached to it. And it can be, take many different forms. That really depends on what is that the students are interested in exploring more. It can be an exhibition, it can be a virtual project, it can be a policy paper, it can be, kind of practical communitarian work that's done, or activist work, and so on and so forth. So there are really different ways of envisioning and approaching the final project. It of course needs to be done in a structured way. It needs to be based on research, and both the, let's say, theoretical part and the practical part need to be closely related, so that the logic is clear, what is done where, how, and why. But really concrete forms depend on student interests, and of course how they develop that in cooperation with their thesis advisors.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Just wondering, Jonas, do you have anything you wanted to ask specifically?
No, I don't have. No.
Okay, I have two more. I have two more questions, I'm afraid. But Jonas, sorry, I cut you off. Were you wanting to say something more? No. No. I have a question about languages. I mean, the courses, am I right in thinking they are taught in English? Yeah, both?
Yes.
Well, that's correct, because both of us are speaking only English, no Swedish, unfortunately, not yet.
Sure. And it's an international language, English, I guess, for international students. But I'm wondering, because you're both dealing, at least in part, with orthodox thinkers and writers and theology and philosophy, I'm wondering how much, is there any requirement to read in other languages, for example, Russian or Greek or Serbian or Ukrainian?
Yeah. Well, I think there is no kind of requirement for the students who enroll to a program to speak or read other languages. But certainly we use those languages in our teaching, and we don't use them just, for the students without helping them to understand what we are talking about. Like my kind of method is based on the idea of the theological language. The theological language, not in the sense that it's a Greek or Russian or any Slavic language. It's a sort of meta language, which means it's the language consisting of concepts, of ideas, and those ideas are usually expressed through the terminology coming from, like from the Greek language or from Coptic or Ethiopian and other Oriental languages. Yes, it should be also stressed that we pay a lot of attention to the connections within the Eastern Christianity, those cross-cultural, linguistic connections within the Eastern Christianity, meaning this kind of the bridges. We try to explore and sometimes to build new bridges between the Greek, Slavic, Ethiopian, Armenian, Coptic, and other Eastern Christian cultures. So we sometimes use the terminology from those languages, but always this terminology is well explained, and it's not gibberish. It's not, we're not talking unknown languages. We try to explain them and to use just some words to demonstrate what kind of meta language, theological meta language we use.
Yeah, I'll just add to this that of course the language of instruction, all the courses, it's English, and all the required readings are in English. But if a student wants to develop a particular, let's say, thesis related to a particular topic that where there are no enough sources or in English, or the original language is not English, then we encourage students to actually acquire sufficient competence in those languages, which would allow them to utilize those sources that are necessary for that kind of research. So that means there are no any a priori prerequisites. But for example, if you want to do your research, or especially in those research-oriented master programs, like those two-year master programs that prepare students for the work at doctoral level, then it is expected that they have sufficient knowledge. It can be just a reading knowledge, let's say, if it's about classical languages or any other languages, if they are about to utilize those sources that are written in those particular languages. So for the coursework, it's all in English, but if they want to focus on something and do a proper scholarly research on a topic related, let's say, to the Russian context and some correspondence between Russian theologians at the end of the 19th century, and most of those primary sources are in Russian, then of course it will be expected that they can use Russian at a sufficient level that they can engage with those materials, or Greek or any other language.
If I just may add to that, that essentially our approach to this question is not that it is a prerequisite, but rather an opportunity that we want to give to our students. Like, for example, like we have students, for example, well, they are now more advanced, they just passed from the master's level to the PhD, but still I think this option is available for those who really want it to pursue in the master's program. Like for example, a student who writes a thesis on the Greek canon law, we will facilitate the student to go to Greece for language classes. Something that is possible in our case, in the case of the school. So we are very happy to facilitate those students who want to learn some exotic languages for their research and studies.
Okay, thank you. That's very good to know. I have one more. I'm not an orthodox person, and you both are, and you're both stressed that your courses approach your subjects from an orthodox perspective. But if someone like me, who's a Baptist or maybe a Catholic, wanted to investigate these areas, would there be room for them as well, or is this exclusively for Orthodox people to study? That's what I'm really asking.
Oh, no way, of course, no way. It's not exclusive or exclusivist or excluding. It's very much including everyone. And all the programs are tailored exactly to accommodate anyone with any faith background or without any faith background. We are more than welcoming, also people without belief, atheists or agnostics, it doesn't matter. People who want to study our subject are most welcome, regardless of their belief. Also, we are happy to accommodate people with no Christian background. We have in our master's programs, we have Muslims, for example, practicing Muslims, and we are happy that they are with us. But we are happy to also to offer our courses to any world religion or any non-traditional religion, anything. So it's really an inclusive program. Yes, we offer a kind of an Eastern Christian outlook at many things, but it doesn't mean that we impose it. It's something that we try to, that's something that how we try to attract our students. If they want to learn more about this approach, that's probably one of a few places in the world where they can shop for this kind of courses, our school. And I think that is our unique contribution to otherwise widely studied fields of ecumenical studies and political theology. Those are the most popular subjects everywhere, but we have something special that other places don't offer, and this is exactly this Eastern Christian approach, tailored for everyone.
Yeah, I can just add to that we actually don't take within those programs a confessional perspective, in the sense what the world looks like from the Orthodox perspective. First of all, because it's unclear what would that imply. You can challenge that and ask, well, is there any single perspective within any of the religious traditions. There are rather multiple perspectives, and what we want to do is actually to approach these specific questions. Of course, each course is specific in itself, has its own goals, but from a scholarly perspective, and ask questions such as, okay, how these concepts or these institutions evolved, how these questions can be approached. So of course, that doesn't mean that they can be approached in a kind of objective or neutral way, but a scholarly approach is the approach that questions the methods that we use and our presuppositions, clarifies them, and of course provides, opens up the room for other perspectives. So that's where different backgrounds are extremely important, both cultural, let's say, religious and other gender perspectives are extremely important, because asking certain questions in a certain way can shed additional light on particular issues that are not necessarily visible from some standard or commonly available perspective. So in that sense, it is inclusive, not just that it's open to everyone, but also that individual perspectives, when they are put together in a scholarly dialogue, can actually be very valuable in understanding particular issues or opening up the room for new research. So all of a sudden, when we become aware that certain questions are not asked within that context because nobody else had that perspective or asked from that perspective before, and that's how scholarship is advanced.
If I may just add to that, thank you, Davor, for these clarifications. I think we are one of a few schools that practice critical approach to our own tradition. And this is a kind of our trademark, if you want, a program. We call it critical ecclesiology, when we question our own tenets, our own, preconceptions, stereotypes, if you want, within our own tradition. So indeed, yes, this critical academic approach, we apply it universally, not just to others, but primarily to ourselves. And we teach our students to be self-critical as well.
Good, thank you both very much. We've come really to the end of our time. I'm just wondering if either of you just wanted to add something. Maybe as we've talked, something has come into your mind. Oh, I didn't mention this or that. Is there anything finally?
I would just like to thank you, also Cyril, and to other participants who joined us today.
Yes, the same. We will be happy to answer all the questions if our students or prospective students may have. Just write us or call us or show up to our campus. We are there for you, and yeah, we'll be happy to answer any question.
Just repeat how they could ask those questions, Cyril. Sorry.
Yeah, on the website of our school there are our emails, and also they may come to the campus in Södertälje if they are in Sweden, and they may inquire personally about the program and what we offer.
Thank you. I would just suggest to anyone watching that both of you are very busy and much in demand internationally. So people should maybe check your availability first before they just turn up and say, oh, can I see Professor Hoverun or Professor Jalto? So just to say that. But email is a good way to contact, yeah, and ask questions. Good. Okay, I think we've come to the end then. I just want to say a very genuine thank you to both of you for giving this time. And to anyone watching who's watching this as a recording, please do consider these courses and do get in contact to find out more if you want to. So thank you both very much indeed. And